Honorable Minister of Justice, Honorable former Prime Minister, Honorable Attorney General, Honorable Members of Parliament, Honorable Members of the Diplomatic Corps, President of the Bar Association, members of the unofficial bar, distinguished members of the legal profession, ladies and gentlemen. At a time we are realigning our strategies to reach goals that would ensure prosperity for our people, as the country's president, I'm indeed happy to share my vision with you at this important conference. The theme of your conference, Sri Lanka, Financial and Commercial Hub, Vistas, Challenges and Opportunities, is particularly relevant considering the journey we must develop as a nation together. The challenges we face today concerns the acceleration of our economic development. Almost all the significant issues that our people have to face today stem from the lack of significant economic growth in our country. Primary focus of my government is to rapidly develop the country, eradicate poverty, and uplift the standard of living of all our people. There are significant opportunities that Sri Lanka can exploit in today's context to achieve the rapid development we expect. The 21st century is widely acknowledged as the knowledge century. New technologies and innovations are now changing the way the world works at an increasingly rapid pace. Technological advances in areas such as artificial intelligence, big data, robotics, 3D printing, bioengineering, the Internet of Things and nanotechnology are poised to bring about sweeping transformation across global commerce and industries. Sri Lanka must not be left behind with these changes. We must instead strive to make use of the opportunities these changes will provide in our quest for rapid economic development. At the same time, it is quite evident that the center of gravity of the global economy and politics has been shifting significantly towards Asia during recent decades. Asia happens to be home not only to the largest population segment in the globe, but also to the fastest growing middle class. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, has estimated that the 2030 Asia will be home to 64% of the global middle class and account for well over 40% of middle class consumption. This fast-growing middle class with considerable spending power in countries such as India, China and Japan, and regions such as ASEAN and the Middle East, represents a tremendous opportunity for Sri Lanka given its unique geostrategic location in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Achieving rapid economic development through the broad opportunities afforded to us by these two trends of rapid technological change and the emergence of Asia as the world's most significant marketplace demands novel approaches. We need short-term, medium-term, and long-term strategies at a national level as well as sector-specific levels in order to make the maximum use of these opportunities. These strategies need to be supported by significant changes to underlying enablers such as education, the legal and the regulatory framework, the financial system, and infrastructure. The information technology sector represents a tremendous growth opportunity for Sri Lanka. This country has already produced several companies that have succeeded in building world-class IT products that are in use throughout the globe. What we require now is to increase the scale of our IT industry in order to capture more opportunities in this space. It is as present a $1 billion industry, but with some effort, we can raise it to a $3 billion industry. My government is committed to assisting in this process. We are already granted significant tax benefits to companies in the information technology sector, and we will continue to support and encourage local companies as well as foreign companies to invest in this field and create more jobs. It is also essential that we encourage local entrepreneurs and startups by providing incentives and facilities for our youth to engage in this industry. We need to provide high-speed broadband access to every part of Sri Lanka so that anyone, no matter where he or she is in the country, can reap the full benefits of internet connectivity. The internet can be an incredibly powerful tool for learning. Young people around the world today are able to develop a considerably high level of skill in virtually any field by learning from their peers on online platforms. Sri Lanka needs to rapidly enhance the number of personnel working in the IT industry. This can be easily achieved by making available short-term training to youth in specific areas such as coding, programming, without requiring them to follow time-consuming degree programs. Internet could be very effectively utilized to train large number of essential for the well-being of the IT industry. Together with improvement for English language education, IT can become powerful enablers for our youth to learn new skills that will not only help them earn higher wages, but also contribute productively to the economy. Another sector in which Sri Lanka has considerable untapped potential is the tourism sector. The tourism industry in Sri Lanka has been too dependent on offering the same sort of tourism products and catering to the same sort of source markets for too long. In the tourism sector, if the tourism sector is to reach its full potential, it is critical that we attract tourists from new source countries. The recent and future growth of the Asian middle class provides us a significant opportunity to do this. Non-traditional markets such as China, the Middle East, and ASEAN countries need to be engaged by the local tourism industry, and high-spending tourists from those nations need to be attracted to Sri Lanka. In doing this, we must also go beyond the traditional areas of sun, surf, and sand. We must make use of our other abandoned natural and cultural attractions. With improved management and protection, wildlife tourism can be an areas that Sri Lanka promotes very successfully given the rich abundance of ecological resources the country possesses despite its size. We should increase opportunities for sports tourism by developing facilities for surfing, scuba diving, mountain biking, rafting, and kite surfing. Our rich historical heritage, including our outstanding ancient cities with their many world-class archaeological sites, and our unique cultural offerings, including our traditional arts and crafts, can be extremely attractive to high-spending tourists from the region as well as from the rest of the world. The increasing importance accorded in the developed world to traditional wellness practices gives us an opportunity to provide new tourist offerings structured around our heritage of Ayurveda, meditation, and holistic care. The underlying facilities and infrastructure available for tourism need to be upgraded in order for us to attract more tourists to the country. We need to provide more incentive, not only to increase the number and quality of high-end hotel rooms, but also need to encourage medium and small-scale businesses to provide high-quality homestay and similar short-term residential accommodation facilities throughout the country. We need to improve the offerings we have for entertainment through the promotion of traditional dance, music, and theatre. We need to increase the availability of facilities and marketing for our traditional handicrafts. We also have to improve the quality of the workforce in the tourism sector by providing more training in areas such as hospitality, foreign languages, and improving the knowledge of our tourist guides and professionals about the abundant attractions the country can offer. Through these measures, we will be able to considerably increase the earnings we receive annually. While we undertake these changes, it is also essential to remember that Sri Lanka has been an agriculture-based society for centuries. Our culture, traditions, and history are all steeped in agriculture. From a future perspective too, agriculture assumes considerable importance given the criticality of food security in time to come. With climate change, ensuring food security is becoming an increasing challenge the world over. Sri Lanka cannot rely on other countries to provide its food requirements. Therefore, it is essential that we become self-sufficient in agriculture. The introduction of new technologies to agriculture is critical. We must introduce better practices for water management, provide high-quality seeds, increase the use of organic fertilizer, incorporate selective mechanization to agricultural processes, create higher value addition in agriculture, and introduce more and better facilities for storing, packaging, and transporting of agriculture produce. The excessive use of chemical fertilizer and pesticides creates significant health problems, whereas there is an increasing demand, particularly in developed countries, for crops grown through organic cultivation. We must encourage such organic produce for both domestic consumption and the export market. By exporting organic produce, whose origins can be attested through proper traceability mechanisms, we will be able to earn considerable export income from regional nations. We must also introduce a suitable digital platform to assist the farmer so that he does not depend on third parties whose sole objective is to earn profit for themselves. A digital platform will enable the farmer not only to decide on what crops to be grown during what season, but will also enable to get a good price for his produce. There are other benefits such as availability of scientific information on appropriate pesticides, weedicides, etc. Our traditional plantation industries are also very important. For many years, tea, rubber and coconut were some of the main foreign exchange earners for Sri Lanka. Ceylon tea remains one of the leading brands that the country possesses, and we must bring back the premier status this brand enjoyed in the world by exporting the highest quality tea to our traditional markets as well as to new markets. Increasing value addition in these traditional plantation industries is also essential if Sri Lanka is to generate more income from these markets. Relying on the most basic form of exports is no longer sufficient, and it is essential to encourage the private sector to invest more in upgrading Sri Lanka's position in the plantation sector. We also have the opportunity to considerably improve the export potential of other crops, including high-quality spices we possess, such as cinnamon, pepper, cloves, and turmeric. Fisheries is another very important sector that we cannot afford to ignore. Unfortunately, Sri Lanka has historically not developed this sector significantly. Fish is a very good source of nutrients, but it has to be acknowledged that it is not affordable for many people today. There is considerable room for improvement in this sector through the introduction of better facilities such as multi-day trawlers with hygienic refrigeration facilities and better facilities at fishery harbors in order to ensure that all the catch that is obtained can be sold without being wasted. At the same time, it is important to introduce measures to ensure that our fisheries sector is sustainable. Overfishing must be avoided, and it is important to introduce proper monitoring mechanisms to ensure that our fish stocks remain sustainable for future generations and that bycatch of vulnerable species is prevented. Combating illegal fishing practices, including bottom trawling and fishing using explosives, is very important, as is the prevention of illegal fishing from other nations in our traditional waters. In addition to assisting in improving the various sectors that can contribute significantly to accelerating national development, my government also intends to undertake the reforms necessary for the many enablers that are required to unleash the full potential of our economy. Education is foremost among these, and my government will be introducing far-reaching measures to overhaul our education system. It is essential to transform it from an exam-centric system to a student-focused one. More opportunities at the secondary and tertiary education level, as well as in vocational training. We will ensure that our youth will become more productive contributors to the economy. Concurrently, we must increase the opportunities available for domestic entrepreneurs and foreign investors to create new businesses in this country. Unnecessary bureaucracy, red tape, and prohibitive regulations must be eliminated so that there are simple, efficient, and streamlined structures through which businesses' activity can be facilitated. This is an area in which most of you as members of the legal profession can be of particularly assistance to the country. It is essential to improve our systems so that the ease of doing business can be increased drastically, while at the same time maintaining adequate safeguards to prevent abuses and irregularities. The facilities and human resources available for more efficient and effective methods of dispute resolution, such as adjudication and arbitration, also need to be enhanced. And our regional standing in this space must be improved. We also need to ensure better patent protection and more representation in the global intellectual property rights mechanism so that our inventors, creators, and entrepreneurs can be encouraged, while at the same time increasing investor confidence. For Sri Lanka to become a financial and commercial hub, it is imperative that we make full use of the opportunities in front of us today. The forthcoming port city will be one such major opportunity, and a considerable amount of work needs to be done in order to ensure that the legal and regulatory framework for this area is structured in such a way to enable it to reach its full potential. Similarly, there will be improvements that can be introduced to our financial regulations, bureaucratic processes, and business facilitation frameworks, for which your contribution as members of the legal fraternity will be vital. Ensuring the efficient operation of the law in our country is essential to establishing investor confidence. For us to become a properly functioning financial and commercial hub, our laws must be consonant with the internationally accepted norms, must be efficient, and the judiciary must remain independent. Any system is a reflection of the participating stakeholders. This is true even in the case of the executive, legislature, and judiciary, businesses, or any other domain. While all stakeholders within the domain of justice can be proud of the Sri Lankan judicial system, particularly the milestone it has reached over a period of time, it is also time for us to reflect whether the Sri Lankan system of justice had been able to work as an efficient and effective mechanism to provide redress for the problems faced by our citizens. The judiciary over the years has been able to maintain the rule of law and safeguard the constitutional governance, but we must reflect upon the present status quo as to the availability, efficacy, and the affordability of the administration of justice in this country. Time has come for all stakeholders, including the judiciary, the government, the legal fraternity, and all other concerned citizens to strive to work together and push the system of justice to greater heights and to make a paradigm shift, making the system of justice more public-friendly, efficient, and effective with a view to solve the issues of the people. Independence of the judiciary is the cornerstone of rule of law, and without independence of judiciary, the rule of law will inevitably fail. However, independence of the judiciary alone cannot make the legal system and the administration of justice on par with the best legal systems in the world. The system of justice will also have to be complemented with an efficient, effective, and affordable process which will provide a meaningful avenue for the ordinary citizens of the country to resolve their disputes expeditiously and in a convenient and affordable manner. The legal fraternity is often familiar with the phrase, "Justice delayed is justice denied." One of the most common complaints that we hear from the public is that their legal battles get dragged for many years. This had made the entire process less effective for innocent litigants and conducive for interested parties to frustrate the administration of justice. Therefore, it is time for all stakeholders, including the judiciary, the government, and the legal fraternity, to come up with a holistic solution to make Sri Lankan legal system amongst the world's best. Maintaining the separation of powers between the three branches of government is critical to this. There can be considerable harm to democracy if the legal process and the courts are interfered with by the executive or the legislature. Similarly, it is important that judiciary does not interfere needlessly in the functioning of the executive and the legislative branches of the government. Both the executive and the legislative branches are elected by the people through a democratic process. And the executive in particular has a mandate to act to fulfill the requirements of the people. It is therefore important that the judiciary does not obstruct the development effort undertaken by the executive to ensure the well-being and prosperity of the people. As we strive to create a better and more prosperous future for our generations, I urge all of you as members of the legal community of Sri Lanka to contribute to your fullest capacity in this process. This is a historic challenge. However, I am confident that we will succeed in achieving a future endowed with splendor and prosperity by working together as true Sri Lankans for Sri Lanka. Thank you.